Hello, everyone. Blue Star Saber here once again to do another One Piece chapter review. Hold on, damn it! I thought I logged in properly, but I didn't. Chapter 1176 with Pride. This chapter is basically following up from the last chapter in which we learned the details of Loki's devil fruit, in which that the the bigger the person is, the more larger the dragon will be. Even though it'd be, for example, a human, while being large, the largest dragon would be very small compared to what Loki eats. A giant would be bigger, and an ancient giant, it's the massive size it is now. Emu seems to be very aware of like Loki's devil fruit, as well as seeing Summers trying to kill the kids and the parents one last time before being stopped by Luffy. I was more intrigued by the Loki dragon stuff, but a bit disappointed that Summers got taken out quite quickly. Um, we've got Power to 99 says, now I'm a couple of chapters behind One Piece, so I stopped right around 100 flashbacks, so where should I go from there? Okay, oh, you're referring to like, I take it you're referring to like, the flashback revolving Loki, Howard, and Rox. I take it. If that's the case, I would at the very least recommend reading the full flashback. At the very least, if you at least read up to the flashback, which is a total of 20 chapters, which is arguably very long, but like itself, a little mini arc of like One Piece lore and history. You see how the Giants ended their era of pirating, how Rox's era began, and how it led to Rogers, and how it led to like Howard's downfall, if you will. So I'd at least recommend reading the Rox flashback at the very least. Which I believe will lead up to chapter 1170. I'm not sure if that's where you are. So, but yeah, at the very least, I'd say let's see, read up to like at least 170, where I think the flashback ends, or 71, and then perhaps wait another 10 chapters to see how this current conflict with Elbaf is going. If you don't want to read it straight away, but I'm trying to, of course, catch up. But yeah, that's basically what I'm suggesting. So yeah, but like I said, I'll admit I was a bit disappointed with Summers taking down, but I'm going to see what Oda is going to do about it, especially now that Emu sees Loki's devil fruit. So yeah. Anyway, now before I begin, I'm going to, of course, comment on the cover page, which is a double spread cover page, but instead of like this landscape, it's portrait. And you see, like, of course, the Straw Hats running with treasure in their hands, all that. And apparently, if I recall, this is a recreation of, I think, was it Volume 7's cover or something? Or something, or at least a color spread that happened in Volume 7. And I believe this is done as an update because the live action, of course, of One Piece Season 2 has come out, and this is basically a sort of homage to that, with a more updated one. I think even the live action crew managed to do, let's say, a poster for this, so props to them. Recommend everyone to watch the live action of One Piece. It is very good. I enjoyed it, and yeah. And I do like that Oda did this little cover spread. And I will admit it's a bit surprising that he did the whole portrait instead of landscape, but props to that. Though granted, it means the downside in Viz. I have to hold my phone sideways, so in order to fully like appreciate it. But yeah, that's the case of the chapter. Anyway, I'm going to go on to the actual summary now. It basically begins where Frankie is observing Loki causing destruction, wondering what kind of party is going on, with him asking Lilith what she's up to, since that was supposed to be where as he sees her meddling in the box that apparently Vegapunk's clone is stored in, but with Lilith happy that she left it nearby the school, and it's taken something else out, and apparently they're called, it's the OCD Omni Drain converters, with Lilith describing that how they basically function. Let's see, their Hoover function should work on Elbaf, basically the same devices that we sort of saw on Egghead, if you will. As she does talk about how it just feels, well, not necessarily the same devices on Elbaf, but I mean Egghead, but basically they should work similar to, they should float similar to Egghead, but not the boots, but yeah. Anyway, Lev describes that it just feels the energy around us and all that stuff, and she talks about, have you ever run off more potent fuel than cola? And Liv is basically asking if Frankie's ever used something more stronger than cola. But you've got like Frankie tilting his head, confused by the question, and you've got sort of like Joey Bonnie on the top of her head. She sort of tilts along with it, so that was a little nice panel. Anyway, we cut to the like Usopp's group, if you will, where they're going like the fire's spreading, thinking that it's such a nightmare, thinking like it's the end of the world. But they're like bigger dragon than Kaido. But Usopp says that it's clearly Luffy's riding on its back, so thinking it's the dragon on their side, with Nami going, that idiot without a thought in the world, commenting on Luffy's apparently recklessness with Loki, telling Zeus to get ready, as it looks like she plans to try and put out the fire, with Jinbei saying it was quite fearsome, but we should hurry, especially the children are out of harm's way now. As Robin is trying to talk to Sol, and they're saying, let's see, with him saying, sorry, now I gotta get up, with the others checking on him. With Nami attempting to like use a mission critical tempo, if you will, to put out the fire in the library. She manages to summon such a massive cloud, with Zeus ready to try and absorb as much water as possible. Sanji, of course, Mitzi fanboying over Nami's abilities, as she's about to use a move called Pouring Rain. Tempo, it happens. Robin tries to say hurry up, with Sol saying it's raining. And just as that's going on, but then you see like as Zeus is trying to put out the fire, Killing Him shows up saying, hang on, you're breaking your word. Who said you were allowed to put out the fire? As Nami tries to warn Zeus that one of the monsters is here, and with Killing Him saying, you promised to cast aside the history of the world. He has one of his dream monsters eat Zeus, if you will, with Sol going like a snake. No, it's realizing that it's a lindworm, as a bubble thing was just saying what I'm afraid of. A lindworm shows up. Nami cries out, Zeus. Sanji goes like, that was our one hope of putting out the fire, wondering who that is. It was Jinbei saying that's one of the 3 demons. And then you hear the words activate ODC, and they hover just like Vegapunk's technology and Egghead, as they're starting collecting the energy, absorbing around. Let's see, you see him storing the energy inside its sort of like tub, if you will, or glass in its container, with Killing Him wondering what's going on. And then suddenly the library, the school, the fire has been put out, and it's been basically being frozen and all that stuff. So yeah, think of like Akioji's ice abilities, if you will. Robin is like confused by what this means, but they realize that they're in the clear as the fire and libraries have been put out. And then we sort of cut to I believe we cut to like let's see, Lilith saying that all natural disasters are a maelstrom of energy, as she absorbs the energy from like the ice containers and gives it to Frankie and says, there you go, Frankie, try using this. And Frankie realizes that this bottle's about to burst, and let's see, Lilith calls it Super Vega Cola, saying your incodes are infamously designed just as advanced as the Perfistas. So basically, Frankie is as strong as the Perfista. and saying this is why she was starting to learn that you're only using cola to power yourself. She says, "You see, Frankie, fuel is passion. Use this stuff, and your raw power will explode." As she's beaming with eyes, just talking about how stronger Frankie's about to get. And Zeus is crying, and we cut to Zeus where he's crying. It's too dark inside the Limworm monster, if you will. As Nami tries to say that she'll save him, with Robin asking, "So can you take us to the library?" With him saying he will, and he must realize that she's worried about the books of Ritzy or Hara. And then you see Killingham giving the order to the Limworm to devour the library, calling it a sleep tid. I think that's what the monsters are, but I just call them dream monsters. Saying that to prevent any shred of hope, he's laughing, saying only history can end when the new world. That's only when history has ended can a new world come about. Where you got Jinbei saying that he'll rescue Zeus Nami, saying that his fist should be enough to make a beast from up. With Killingham going like, "Ew, a fishman," being basically a racist, if you will, or speciest, I guess. Saying that it's the ugliest species in the world and he's going to puke, which is a bit ironic because some people think that Killingham looks like a fishman, at least with his teeth in his mouth. But he talks about, "It's a good thing my mask keeps my air clean." And Sanji gets offended by this word, saying that this elite mindset expected from a celestial dragon. And declaring from the crimes of being ignorant to Jinbei, a former warlord of the seed, and insulting a member of our crew. And he says, "I think you need a hole in that mask." As we see Frankie flying up, going, "Super! Look at my hoops!" As he describes, all the muscles in his body are screaming. And any monster he leashes on is going to cry uncle after a single punch, as Frankie does a super strong attack. Jinbei does a fishman karate secret art, and Sanji does an Earthrub Jambo, as they're about to target their respective monsters or God's Knights, if you will. And then we see Jinbei punching the Lindworm in the face. Jinbei punching him in the stomach. Basically, Frankie's move is called Super Strong Dexter, which apparently is Latin for punch or something, or right or something, but yeah. And Jinbei's attack is called Vagabond Drill. And Sanji, his move is called Con Crasher Crush. Ritzy basically sort of kicking him on the top of his head, similar to how Leo and Sai did to St. Charles, if you will, arguably smashing their helmet as the monster's head comes off. Anyway, we cut to the Western Village where we see, of course, the dummy reverse Doggy and Broggy. These groups are against Zoro's group of giants. So if you got there, they're trying their best to make every cut they can, but it basically seals themselves up. With, I think, is it Strusen saying, "I know these men, it's hard enough just to bring myself to attack familiar faces, but wondering how we're supposed to stop them in the first place, as they're trying everything they can to beat them, but it's not seemingly working." Let's see. But then we see Dory and Broggy seemingly attacking each other, or they're just crying out in pain or something, as some of the giants noticed, asking if the two of them are in there. Dory and Broggy are saying, asking each other, are they conscious? Which they're both saying they're just barely in there. So talking about this as a deep shame for them, insulting their beloved Chief Jao. And if they take his head, it would shame their families for generations, believing that this cannot happen. So they're both in agreement, as let's see, Zoro and the other giants are looking on, as they're both saying, of course, saying they were never given to Daemons, as they're both thinking, "Farewell, partner. The centuries of battle were the best of their time." And the two basically, behead themselves, if you will, as they think to their past as warriors and all that stuff, saying, when we die with pride. This shocks like the good group of giants and Zoro as they cry out Captain's and Dorian Broggy's names. And as they're doing this, Ritzy wondering why on earth would they do this. You then see him flipping around, and then Dorian Broggy seemingly back to normal, though I think Broggy's hand is still shot off, so there's still the damage there. They're both confused what's going on, and they were like, wait, they're back, and their heads are on, with Zhao thinking that this must mean that this must mean that as I think Zoro sort of continues saying that let me just here we go. We cut to let's see. There we go. Sorry, I was just trying to sort out that page. So as they sort of behead themselves, Zhao, Ritzy, saying this must mean with let's see someone shouting, if they die, they stop being demons, and saying if they're the most magical corpses is the picture of health when we flip them over. So asks, so we can do whatever we want. Let's see. Oh, we've got someone called Raptors for Life 511. Hello. I'm just about to finish the summary of the chapter before going to my thoughts, so you've sort of come at the right time. Of them all talking like all we need to do is inflict fatal damage to them to turn back to normal, like chopping their heads off or running them through the heart. Come on, they're our comrades. We can't do that, can we? So basically, we got this lineup of like Dorian Broggy, Hedruden and Stussen, and with Zoro leading the charge. Let's see, the Demon Giants seemingly a bit taken aback that their captains have now reverted back to being themselves. With someone saying, hey, get the children's sides. With Zoro saying, you hate to see it. With Dorian Broggy saying, it's a real shame. It pains me on the inside. And Hedruden saying, a real heartbreaker. As Stussen says, don't take it personally. Prepare to die. But as they're saying this, they're all smiling, basically excited to have a battle, ending the chapter, if you will. So yeah. Anyway, I suppose I should give my overall thoughts on this chapter. Okay, first of all, I do like how that you got like Frankie and Lilith, and let's see, you've got like Bonnie on top of Frankie's head whenever he's tilting. In many ways, I guess. Let's see, Bonnie is seeing Frankie as a sort of parental guardian figure, if you will. And that child form, perhaps maybe let's see, Frankie might remind of her dad, as I think some people have done comments in their reviews of this chapter. But it's nice that she's just like just hiding on Frankie's head. But I do like how we finally cut back to Lilith, and it seems like besides Vegapunk's clone body, it seems that Lilith packed some like new devices called the OCD Omi Drain Converters, which allows her to, like, of course, drain energy and then drain some energy, which is all around Elbaf, as she comments, similar to like Egghead, if you will. And we did talk about and Vegapunk did talk about how energy is surrounding the planet. So yeah, and it can be used to like help create this apparently one allows her to create some weather that freezes the fire. So I do like that we've got this some sort of device. I do like how she ends up asking Frankie, only using cola, right? So, yeah, arguably the stuff with Ritzy, Lily, and Frankie basically, it probably should, the Frankie and Lily stuff should have basically been the upgrade. This should have probably been upgrade. This sort of Lily and Vegapunk and Frankie stuff probably should have happened in Egghead, though granted, I probably can understand for the story they're in that there was no time to probably have Frankie sit down and chat with like Vegapunk see, with all the sort of chaos going on. But heck, better late than never. But I do like that Lilith is basically helping Frankie upgrade himself, saying like, okay, use cola and all that to like increase your using it as an energy, which is impressive. So if you give it something even better, you should be a lot more stronger. Now, arguably, Frankie probably should have had some involvement in doing his own upgrades, but nevertheless, I do like that we're having this conversation with Frankie and Lilith. So I'm enjoying that, and I do like how Lilith says that Frankie is apparently as strong as a Hephaestus, which we know that they're no joke. It takes like you have to be like vice admiral level at least just to take him out, and it's like, and basically Frankie's as strong as all the Straw Hats combined pre-time skip. So at the very least, and now that he's got this Super Vega Cola, if you will, he's a lot more stronger, and we see it with his fist and how he was able to fly, and that's just his base form. And I do like that we got the move, let's see, Dexter, if you will. So, yeah, I'm liking that. Let's see, I do like it's like the whole Latin word of like strong, right, or something. But yeah, or punch, if you will. But with that, Frankie is now a lot more stronger. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And I'm wondering if that means that now Frankie is probably Yonko commander level now. We know he can one-shot vice admirals, but now I wonder if that means he can now fight like the strongest of Yonko commander, maybe first Yonko commander level, because well, Zoran Sanchi should probably be getting to be as strong as admirals soon at the very least. But I know I have to wait and see on their part. But nevertheless, I do like seeing that Frankie's finally gotten an upgrade, as he's basically shown all his arsenal from like the last couple of arcs, and he's finally having that conversation with Ritzy Vegapunk, even though it's like one of the clones. I do like Lilith's like gleaming eye of like just seeing just how fiercely the passion of Frankie's power explodes, especially with that Colas about to burst. So but yeah. So arguably, yes, probably would have been better in Egghead, and arguably would have probably liked it if Frankie had his own involvement. So perhaps maybe Frankie will do some modifications later, and maybe do some testing with Lilith to see how powerful it can be down the line. But nevertheless, I do like that we're finally getting this sort of conversation with Vegapunk, with a Vegapunk and Frankie. So yeah, I'm joining that. Let's see. I will admit, I'm a little disappointed that Usopp still hasn't yet to have his moment to shine. He's just commenting on what Luffy and Loki's doing, but I'm wondering if that, at the very least, he knows that the dragon's on Luffy's side. So I'm hoping that let's see. I have read the next chapter. I'm not going to spoil what's going on with this review, but I am hoping that we get to see what Usopp will have his moment soon, as he's still doing it on the background. Other than that, I like how you've got Nami just saying, Luffy's being stupid again or doing something reckless with a giant dragon monster. But of course, it's ready to take out the library, try and take out the fire in the library and all that stuff. And I like how we just see how she's able to make Zeus in order to take it out, which arguably, in some sense, she's sort of taking Jinbei's job, if you will, who we saw in Wano, he'd put out the fire. So, but yeah, but now Nami can do something on that scale. But let's see. So, yeah. I will admit, I'm a little disappointed that Robin's not taking a bit of a role in this, but I suppose, at the very least, I do like that she's seemingly taking care of, let's see, Sol, and when they're rushing there. Now, granted, with the fire now, let's see, as we know in this chapter, the fire is taken out. I am wondering what's going to happen, because, like, the person that Robin wanted to protect is fine at the moment, and the library where Urahara is, which I do like how Sol brings up, like, yeah, I know you want to save the library due to Urahara's legacy being in there, but now that those things are, let's see, Sol's fine and the library's been saved, I am wondering, there isn't really much motivation left for Robin to be in desperate and hurry to protect. Though I am hoping that she gets something a bit more, let's see, because okay, we had that nice touching moment of the reunion with her and so on, and we had like that fight with Summers, in which let's see, while she did well, she did of course get beaten. I'm hoping that she gets some comeback in a way. Granted, it doesn't look like she's going to have a rematch with Summers, but at the very least, maybe help take on a Dream Monster down the line. But yeah, anyway, going on, let's see that. I will admit, I did like that Killingham saying, "Oh no, you lot said you were going to destroy your history, and I'm going to make sure that happens by having one of his nightmare monsters, a Lindworm, if you will. Let's see, eat Zeus," which is like, I like Nami's reaction of like, look out and saying, "Don't worry, Zeus, I'll save you," and all that kind of thing, as she wants to do it. But I do like how both Jimbei and Frankie basically team up on this monster to prevent it from devouring the library, as Killingham orders it to do so, and Jimbei to like try and rescue Zeus, who is trapped inside. So yeah, Jimbei gets a bit of redemption from like his previous failure against Gunko and all that stuff, which Nami said, "You're supposed to be a warlord. How could you let this happen?" So it's like, let's see, Jimbei actually is probably living up to like Nami's standards now. So yeah, and I like how the fact they both punch and take out this monster shows that Frankie at least could become as strong as Jimbei, who should be probably about Yonko Commando, just below it. But yeah, so that was a bit impressive. But it's also interesting to see that Sanji, we end up seeing Killingham being a bit more like a celestial dragon, thinking that being disgusted by Jimbei's race of being a fishman, and it leads to like one of the nice character moments for Sanji, who seemed to be like the most hostile and least trusting of Jimbei, given the stuff from Fishman Island, and seemingly getting jealous of him from like Whole Cake, and I think Wano of him getting the attention of like Nami and that, and it's like, I'm the one that should get attention, Nami, and even angry at him for like getting a higher bounty in him, and after the events of Wano and an egghead, if you will, sort of taking his place, but Jimbei is being confused, even though Jimbei has basically taken any command Sanji said before being the senior member of the Straw Hat crew, and even just being concerned about him, even though he doesn't realize that it's because of his bounty. But let's see, and Sanji seemed to be a bit enthusiastic of beating up like the S Shark of Jimbei. It seems that down the line, Sanji does view Jimbei as a crewmate, and it's like, how dare you insult my crewmate? You need to be punished. And it's like the epic kick, and doing the same sort of kick maneuver that happened to Charlos, if you will. And I do like how he points out that Jimbei was a member of the Seven Warlords of the Sea. So yeah, I will admit I would probably preferred Summers versus Sanji, and Killingham probably versus Usopp and the other Straw Hats, but since Summers seemingly has been taken out, heck, at the very least, I do like that Sanji is at least fighting one God's Knight. Maybe not the one I hope for, but it leads to a nice sort of character moment of like defending Jimbei, if you will. So yeah, that was pretty good. So yeah. Now stuff with the Giants, I'm a bit more mixed on and perhaps a bit disappointed. On one hand, I do like how they're still sort of struggling, despite the fact that they keep trying to cut them. They're still struggling to try and take them down since their regeneration. But I do sort of like how, even though I think it's a bit too soon for Dory and Broggy to gain conscience again, they're both like, we can't hurt Jarl. This will shame our families and our warrior pride for generations. And I do like how the two of them are sort of like in agreement that it's better to like take each other out than doing so. And I do like it's a bit of an homage to like their old Stretzy 100 years, and I like how they even emphasize that was the best time of their lives, if you will. But they basically cut off each other's head, choosing to rather die than be slaves that, let's see, kill those that they love, if you will, much to the shock of everyone. So yeah, that's nice. But let's see, and then of course they sort of revert back to normal, if you will. And become basically not necessarily fully recovered. I mean, I think Groggy Sue has lost his arm, but basically they're back to what they were before, and now they're on the good guy's side, which on one hand you get this very cool double panel spread of them back to teaming up with Zorro. It's like a sort of Avengers Assemble moment, if you will. So yeah, I do like let's see that, but it's like I feel like this is happening too soon. I was really looking forward to say like a Zorro versus Dorian Broggy fight, because I thought, and this is the sort of action, this is the sort of fight that Zorro needs before he faces Mihawk in the final war. But it seems like this enemy, these two really powerful enemies that combine, that should be as strong as at least an admiral, seemingly have now taken each other out, and now they're back on the good guy's side, meaning that Zorro does not have basically a legendary opponent or opponents to face. Instead, it's going to be these random Donnie Reverse giant soldiers, which, while strong, they're not going to be Dorian Broggy level strong. So they're basically kind of like giant monster fodder, if you will. But nevertheless, I do like the sort of like panel of like, okay, we're all in agreement. We need to just take him out. And even though they're talking about how they a bit they really don't want to do this, but the way they're smiling sense that they're that enthusiastic is like, oh, now we just have to kill them and all that stuff. That will revert them back to normal. So yeah, in many ways, it kind of reminds me of like how the Straw Hats, when they realized Oz was stuck, they could just attack him freely. Now, granted, you don't have those more convenient black eye things, but glowing eye things. But no, it's just them basically smiling. But yeah, I do like how Zorro is. Let's see, saying, get the children inside. They hate to see this because it's like, oh, things are about to get ugly. So, but yeah. But nevertheless, it is a kind of cooler team up thing, though. Granted, I think a bunch of Usopp fans saying this should have been like Usopp doing this thing, like leading giants, not leading giants into battle, not Zo. And some were hoping that maybe Usopp could help them with this, even though I thought it was going to be more killing him. But granted, he doesn't have killing him or Dorian Broggy, Domi Reverse Giants now. So there's moments of where he can shine in this arc. It's starting to rein thin. So you are hoping that Oda's going to start doing something soon, but it's like you sort of limit the options. And also cheapen the number of bad guys yet again. But we'll have to wait and see on that part. But yeah. Nevertheless, let's see, you got like this cool double page, but I just wish that if this stuff was going to happen, have it maybe happen in a few more chapters afterwards, because I would have preferred to see Zorro versus Dorian Broggy, and he finally masters his Conqueror's Haki and reaches sort of like Admiral level, if you will. So, but yeah, other than that, there are some, I've seen some people question about the Domi Reverse thing. Okay, turns out that everyone thought Domi Reverse would be sort of similar to like what's going on with the Guards Knights and the Five Elders, as where you need Conqueror's Haki to permanently damage them, and you think that's the case here. It doesn't probably help that the last Domi Reverse fight we saw was Domi Reverse Rocks versus Roger and Garp, but no, it turns out that you need to kill them. But which, to be fair, we have seen Garp and Roger technically did kill Rocks in the battle, but Granted, it seems like Doran in fight, but he's not. Though, granted, I think the explanation for that is during the battle, Rox used up all his hockey, and Roger and Garp used up all their hockey, and as a result, they were tired out, which probably meant Rox's thing. Now, granted, I think in a Mr. Maud stream about the chapter, I think one person pointed out, it's like, what happens to the Davy clan then? Since Rox seemingly killed them, it doesn't look like and with this new information about Damiroverse, they should have been back to normal, which arguably that is a bit of a concern, but I do wonder. It's the only thing I can think of is perhaps, okay, Rox did it too much that he ended up killing them even after they reversed themselves, or even though when he did it, the Guards Knights just finished off the Rox, like the David clan members, just as he did it. I'm not really sure where Oda is going with that, or just like something that Oda just sort of forgot, which is a bit baffling to me because normally he's like pretty good at just planning and all that stuff. That could be that just Oda just not think of the minor details on this one, but but yeah. But I do think at the very least, Damiroverse is much weaker contract thing with Emu, as it's more of like one against their will. So it's like, it's not like the God's Knights where you do a fate and blow that's fatal enough to actually kill regardless of regeneration. Regardless of the generation, let's see, it will revert back and you do sort of permanently die. So it's like a lower level stage of like Emu's contract abilities. You still get some regeneration, but if you do a move powerful enough to kill, like Doran Broggy did to each other, and what Garp and Roger did to Rox, it will reverse. So yeah. Overall, I'd probably give this chapter a 7.5 out of 10. Let's see. I think it's at worst a 6. Let's see, to be honest. Because I do like the Frankie little stuff and like Frankie finally getting power up, Nami attempting to take out the fire, Jinbei getting a moment to like shine along with Frankie of taking down that giant Linworm monster, and Jinbei coming to and Sanji coming to Jinbei's defense and fighting Killingham. So yeah, and seeing Killingham be a bit more of a despicable villain by being racist towards Jinbei, which and now you're hoping that maybe that will lead to a fight, though at the very least it seemed like Sanji's his opponent. But it's so disappointing that we don't get to see more of Robin doing stuff besides just rushing to the library. But we'll have to wait and see what moments her character can get down the line. And while I like Dorian Broggy's resolve to rather kill each other than kill Jowl, I do think it's still a bit too quick. And we've got one less like enemy. And even though we got this cool panel of the Giants and Zod together, let's see. I do think it's happening too quick, and I'd rather, just like I said, see Zoro versus Dorian Broggy. So yeah, overall a good chapter, but with some bits that I'd wish happened down the line. But like I said, it's worse like a 6 out of 10 chapter. I don't think it's a bad chapter, but I think it could have been better. But yeah, but anyway, that's my thoughts. For those who end up listening or watching, like Power to 99 and Raptors for Life, thank you for your comments, even though you did the one each. And yeah, and for those who also watched, I hope you enjoyed and listened. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. Let's see, and I will see you next time when I'm able to hopefully catch up and review the latest chapter of One Piece. And before, let's see, next weekend. Though granted, I'll probably be very busy, but nevertheless, I'll try and do these reviews as soon as I can. But for now, I'm Blue Star Saber signing off. Thank you, everyone, and good night. And goodbye.